Venom movie reviews are pouring in and they are not looking too good, but critics are saying some very interesting things about the film. We are breaking it all down. This is the Nerdy News Rundown. Let's get you filled in. Now, before we get into the story, I want to shout out everybody who watched the video I did yesterday about the Russian bot Last Jedi thing. I was blown away at how just normal and nice people were being in the comments of that video. There were some ridiculous people yesterday, but for the most part, I saw a lot of discourse between people that, while maybe they didn't agree, was at least not venomous or toxic. So thank you guys so much. That's actually really inspiring to see. So let's get into this, guys. We just got to face the facts here. Call a spade, so to speak. Venom looks to not reach the heights of other great comic book films out there. It seems to be falling pretty short, and this is me actually being very generous to what I'm seeing coming out of reviews. So yeah, it's bad, but how bad is it, and what exactly are people saying about it? Well, that's a little bit more intriguing, so let's jump into that. Currently, the film sits at a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, with less than 40 reviews actually coming in. A lot of reviews will roll in the next couple of days, so this number could go up or it could go down slightly. But if you watch me when I talk about reviews for movies, you'll know that it's not just the Rotten Tomatoes score that I look at. I'm usually really interested in what the reviewers are actually saying about the film in their reviews. So the first thing that I can sort of glean from all of the reviews out there is that the film is kind of a mess. It doesn't really nail a set tone. The tone tends to change quite a bit. It doesn't really seem to have a proper feel or mise-en-scène. The plot itself is kind of all over the place, and this is a pretty general consensus. In fact, even reviewers that gave the film a positive review or a ripe tomato thing, even they said the film is pretty much a mess. So that's, I don't know, it's kind of not really heartening to hear. However, I will say that among the reviews, both negative and positive, there seems to be this takeaway that the film has a certain charm to it because it is kind of a mess. It's a very weird film, a lot of people are saying. It's very strange is another thing that I saw a lot of people talking about. And so there's almost like a certain amount of charm that comes from that. And I saw a lot of reviews reference that the film feels like it's out of time. It reminds us of old comic book movies like from the early 2000s or the late 90s, some of the middle of the DCEU stuff. So I don't know, take that for what you will, but it really reminds me of the Justice League thing. So Justice League, pretty craptastic movie, but had that movie come out in the early 2000s or the late 90s, I think it would have been held at a much higher level. The standard was a little bit lower back then, and the film sort of worked on certain levels. So if Venom is like that, I could see myself still enjoying the film, but probably not going to check it out multiple times. Another thing that's really widely accepted by almost all of the reviewers and everybody is that Tom Hardy is brilliant in this movie. So even people that are negative on the film, that gave it a rotten score, are saying that Tom Hardy's performance is brilliant and really fun to watch. His energy is great. He's really engaging. I even saw a lot of people that gave the film a positive review basically hold up the Tom Hardy performance as the single crown jewel that gives this movie a positive review that makes it enjoyable. So I mean, this is something that the marketing relied heavily on. It's probably not that surprising to any of you out there, but yeah, it's worth noting. Widely accepted among all the reviewers is that Tom Hardy is the best part of this movie. And again, I think some of this comes from the fact that he plays the Venom character and the Eddie Brock character. There's very interesting back and forth between these characters, a lot of humor when it comes to these characters. So I don't know, take that for what you will. I'm personally excited to see this dynamic play out. I love Tom Hardy, so that's a good thing when it comes to this movie. So let's talk about the impact of the reviews, like how the film's going to do, what this means for the future. The big question on everybody's mind is what does this mean for the future with Sony and Marvel specifically when it comes to the Spider-Man character and this whole Venom universe that Sony's working on? Well, I think it's important to note that this film is still tracking pretty well. It's bounced around a lot, but it's actually looking to have a maybe even record-breaking box office for October. So the film will likely still still do really well. It will be interesting to see how the legs of the movie are. What's the drop off from week 1 to week 2? What are people saying about it online? Because really, the word of mouth on social media is a big factor for these films. It convinces people to maybe go check it out or maybe wait for a digital release or something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I can see a scenario where the film comes out, and even though it's not a great movie, a lot of audiences really like it and really like the Tom Hardy performance, and it makes enough money for them to warrant a sequel and maybe even get to this crossover that Sony is so badly looking. This is another thing that was in the reviews and in a lot of articles that are surrounding this Venom movie, is that it really is apparent when you watch the film and you talk to people behind the production that they are really looking to connect with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They would really like to do that, even though they're striking their own very strange tone kind of on their own. Now, I will have to wait and see the film myself before I can kind of express like my personal feelings on this, because there's a part of me without even seeing it that's like, nah, screw that, give the rights back to Marvel. There's another part of me that's like, no, this could really work. It would be interesting to have some of our Marvel movies coming from a separate studio than Marvel itself, just to get a little bit of a different flavor. But ultimately, I think what it really comes down to is fans do not trust Sony. Sony has done a lot of bad things with the Spider-Man character, the Spider-Man movies, and with the fandom. And so it's sort of we're at a very weird impasse with how fans do not trust these other studios. It's like, I can make an argument here that Disney shouldn't just have all of these characters, that they should not just be the only one making these types of movies, but also just look at the way the fans respond to those movies and the way they respond to other studios. Other studios are clearly just out for the money, not necessarily making good art and making like representations of these characters that appease the fans. Marvel's doing that. So it's like really hard to argue against Marvel Studios just taking everything back and doing it their own. But we'll have to see. We'll have to wait on the numbers. We'll have to wait on how people are responding to the film online. But I guess just from the reviews, I can say this probably hurts Sony's position. I don't know if they'll actually be able to bargain with the MCU at all. And I don't know, this could be the path to just getting Spider-Man back at Marvel completely, which honestly, if I'm Sony, is not a bad idea. You get a ton of money. I think that would be the way to do it. But that is the news out there, guys. The Venom reviews looking pretty poor. There's some things to still be excited about. I'm personally still excited to see the movie. Can't wait. Checking it out tomorrow night. I'll put up a little review on the channel or on the website. And you guys should be checking out the website, by the way, thedenofnerds.com. Justin does a lot of great articles about mobile gaming and anime. I'm starting to ramp up my stuff. Going to be doing articles on Star Wars, Marvel, and all of these films. So make sure you go check out thedenofnerds.com. But let me know here in the comment section, what do you think about these reviews? Is your excitement dampened? Are you still super pumped? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comment section below. And that's gonna do it for the Wednesday show. It's new comic book day. Get out there and get yourself some of those funny books. And yeah, as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and shout out to everybody that's been staying to the very end of the videos. I had someone comment the you said big doo-doo this time yesterday. Legendary. Thank you.